What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zeri from the XMG coming at you today on Friday morning again to bring you Count Delman for noobs. I've been playing Count Delman for 2 days now. I have tried multiple comps with him, so I have a kind of an understanding. I actually put off a lot of my battleground testing to test Count Delman to get him out there for you all. So, but before we get into Count Delman, if you're just finding the channel for the first time, please hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel greatly. And for all you family members out there, thank you so much for the support. Don't forget to turn on notifications, like the video, share them, comment, all that happy crap that goes along with it. So we're going to jump into Count Delman. So let's do it. So we're going to start Count Delman like we always do with the stats. Count Delman has physical damage of 2957. Not bad, not the best. He just a little bit under that 3,000 mark, so really can't complain. Critical chance is pretty good. Not the best, but above average at 27.57%. His health is at 24,582, and his shield is at 24,543. So we're almost at 50k to start, so that is very good. His armor is really good, both over 32.5%, so that is really good. His speed is at 145, so pretty much average. Potency is at 38%, so, you know, he's well above the average on potency, so that is a plus. So looking at his stats, what did we learn? We learned that his survivability is pretty good. He's almost at 50k. Speed is average, and his potency is extremely good. Critical chance is, you know, okay. So let's take a look at his move kit and see what we learned from there. First ability here is Cutting Blow. Deals 270% of physical damage to an enemy, and a 70% chance to increase the cooldown of a random ability for 1 turn. 270% damage on a basic is good, so we see physical damage here. Now his Mark of Death is the second ability. Deals 380% of physical damage, inflicts Mark of Death for 3 turns. Mark of Death allows attacking an enemy as if it was affected by taunt. This target cannot go invisible, and the damage inflicted to the target is increased by 15%. So let me tell you a couple things about this move. You can do some crazy damage with this move. It's cool looking, but the Mark of Death is a debuff. I reached out to the dev team and asked them, can this be resisted? And it can. So potency is going to be vital to this character, because his Mark of Death is really the whole reason why you want him on your team. So we see physical damage and potency. Third ability is Serpent Cunning. Count Delman gains a dodge increase for 2 turns and recovers 25% of turn meter, and then all allies gain a crit damage increase for 2 turns. So the dodge increase, as we know, is awesome because dodge is broken. I still am a firm believer of that. And gaining 25% turn meter, that is very cool. So I'll kind of get into his move rotation here in a minute, but giving yourself turn meter is not bad. Then his passive ability, Count Delman gains 500 penetration. Now what penetration does is it is negative of armor. So if a character has high armor, the more penetration you have, the more damage you do against their armor. If Thaleen is an ally, Count Delman and Thaleen increase their physical damage by 15%. If Wonder Lure is an ally, Count Delman and Wonder Lure increase their critical chance by 15%. So, as we know, Thaleen isn't in the game yet. Wonder Lure is, and we will kind of get into pairings and things of that, but increasing your critical chance by 15% is huge. So keep that in mind as we go forward. So what did we learn from his move kit? We learned he needs physical damage. We learned he needs potency. We learned he gives himself critical damage, so you want to put some critical chance on him to try to up that. And he only has 145 speed, and you kind of want him to go quickly so he can get that Mark of Death up, because that Mark of Death is a counter to Cruel, and it is a counter to Kyra. So you want to get that up before Kyra goes stealth, or you want to get that up before Cruel. You know, it is on a 1-turn cooldown, so you want to be able to do that when a mage is out of stealth, so you can target them, you know, roughly negating the invisibility. So you do want speed on him. So looking at his rune options, there's a couple ways to go. You could go critical chance, critical damage, obvious way to go. But you're giving yourself critical chance with Wonder Lua. If he's on, you're giving yourself critical damage through his passive. So I did play with that, and he can do some massive damage, but he's missing something. So then I tried damage critical chance, and again, brought up his critical chance. His damage went through the roof, but he was still missing something. And then I went with damage potency, and again, still missing something. So I went with speed potency. I was able to focus on critical chance, damage, more speed in the secondaries, and I found, for me, that is the best way to rune him, because I'm going quicker. My turn rotation with him is he goes, I take this Serpent Cunning right away, pop that, I gain my 25% turn meter, then I use my Mark of Death, which increases by 15%, and then I basic. So it's kind of, you know, his third move is first, his second move is second, and his first move is third. So I am going to rune him, and I will be right back. Alright, so we are back, and like I said, I went with speed and potency. I'm focusing on damage in the secondaries, critical chance, survivability, and obviously more speed. So let's go over it. Northern Rune, obviously we have the damage primary, critical chance, tenacity, shield, and speed. Then in the Northeastern Rune, I went with speed. We have potency, shield, armor, and health. Then I went with the armor in the Southeastern Potency Rune, because his armor is so good. An extra 5% really will help. I mean, you have to take armor here, but that is usually, I'm not a biggest fan of that, but since he does have really good armor to start, that helps. Health, speed, damage, and potency. Then I went with the damage in the Southern Rune. We have damage, shield, potency, damage, and shield. I went with shield or health here, really doesn't matter. I just went for the best secondary stats, and I got 2 speed and some critical chance and increased his armor a little bit, so I went with that one. And then I went with damage in the Northwestern. Now you could put potency here, but I found putting the potency on here is just really overkill. Where I have him right now, I have yet to see my Mark of Death being resisted, so I'm very happy with what we have here. So it went with the damage increase, shield, health, critical chance, and some more damage. So let's see what it did to his stats. So looking at his stats, we brought up his physical damage, 272 to 3229. I really am happy with that. Over the 3000 mark, we have over 3200 damage. That is awesome. Critical chance, we only brought up 2.8% to 30%, and I'm okay with that, because most of the time I'm going to put him with a Wonder Lua who gives him the increase. But even if you don't run him with Wonder Lua, it is okay. Trust me, his main part of the battle will be getting that Mark of Death on, and I'll kind of get to that in a minute. We brought up his health, 332, 24,912, and then we brought up his shield, 4819 to 29,362. So we are at 54k. I'm really happy with that. Got his armor to 34.7% and 35.5%, so that'll help his survivability. And then we brought up his speed, 45 to 190, and that is perfect. We have his potency almost 58%. Really happy there. So what we did for him is we got him faster, we got him to hit harder, and that's what we want. So you can see, you know, in some of the clips I showed you, he can do some massive damage. And at the end of this video, you know, I will kind of show some more videos of him in action with different team compositions. But this is the way to maximize his move talent, in my opinion. Now, you could make him slower, and you could just have him do some crazy amount of damage, and maybe when Thaleen comes out, that is the way to go. But for now, for what he is used for, this is where I got him. So now we're going to touch on the scroll sync with Count Delman. So we are looking at Cutting Blow at level 2. It's 120% of physical damage, and then he has a 30% chance to increase the cooldown of a random ability by 1 turn, and, you know, damage goes up, and the increase of, or the chance to increase the cooldown goes up. Then his Mark of Death at level 2, He deals 160 physical damage and a 50% chance to inflict the Mark of Death for 2 turns, and this is why potency will be important. So target can't go invisible, and increase the damage by 15%. Then as we go up, we get more physical damage and more chance to inflict the Mark of Death. More damage, and then it lasts 1 more turn with only going through 1 potency tenacity check. Serpent Cunning, you know, he gets the dodge increase for 2 turns and recovers 10% of his turn meter. More turn meter, then he gets the crit damage increase to 3 random allies, and then all allies get crit damage. And his Hunter's Union, he gets 150% of, or gains 150 penetration if Thaleen is an ally. Count Delman and Thaleen physical damage increase. Then he gets more physical damage. Then he gets the Wonder Lua. So how am I going to scroll sync this guy? Let's think about it. What do we want him to do? We want him to get that Hunter's Mark up. So we are just going to come right to Mark of Death, and we are going to take that right to level 6. That is why we want him, so you take that to level 6. Then you come to his basic, and you are going to take his basic to level 3, and you're going to stop there. You're going to take that to level 3 because then you gain that 30% chance to increase the cooldown. His passive ability you're just going to leave right alone. Right now you're just going to leave it where it is. But you're going to come to his Serpent Cunning, and you're going to take that to level 6. Then you're going to come back to his Cutting Blow, take that to level 6, then his passive. So that way you're getting the Hunter's Mark, or the Mark of Death, I'm sorry, I keep calling it Hunter's Mark. You get the Mark of Death up, so it only goes through the 1 potency tenacity check. You're getting the most out of that. You're getting the chance to increase an ability here, and then you're going to where you get the most turn meter reduction, or turn meter recovery, and then you are getting the crit damage increase for 2 turns, so it is huge. And then you can come by and just get the passive. I mean, honestly, penetration is kind of a blah stat in my opinion anyways, and Wonder Lua as an ally, 5% counter chance. You know, blue scroll sync is just going to be very high, so with minimal returns. So that is how I would scroll Count Delman. Now let's talk about Count Delman here for a minute. Count Delman to me is missing something at this point, and maybe it's Thaleen. He does not improve the elf faction. He does not make them viable. There's a video that you will see where elves just get absolutely slaughtered. So right now he doesn't. I've tried him in all different comps. There's only 1 leadership for the elves, which is Nightiel, and it's not a very good leadership. So once Thaleen comes in, maybe that'll change. Maybe Thaleen is the piece he is missing. Now I will tell you, he is abundantly survivable for some reason. I don't know why, but he's usually the last one alive on every fight. So he is abundantly survivable. His Mark of Death can do some massive damage. He can do some massive damage when he crits with that extra crit damage. He is very, very viable when it comes to a Soleus team with like Cruel, and especially if they don't have a tank. If they don't have a tank, he destroys that team because he Mark of Death somebody and just picks them apart. So he is very viable in that aspect. He does work well against a Kyra. Can definitely let you focus on the one target you want, and then he can pick them down. So, you know, he brings some interesting things. He is kind of fun to play around with. Not kind of, he is fun to play around with because that Mark of Death opens up so many more things to you. Then if you have a character who is reliant on critical chance, like a Slinger, for instance, you know, he can benefit you because you want Slinger to crit to remove the buffs, and then he'll be doing more damage because you'll get that crit damage increase. So he does bring a lot, but to me he is incomplete at this time. Without Thaleen right now, he is just kind of a incomplete character, and he could benefit you if you don't have like a Cruel and you're fighting a lot of Cruel teams. He could definitely help you get by those teams. That is for sure. Or if you're running into a lot of Kyras and you just either don't have Kyra or don't want to use Kyra, he can help you get through those teams. But his gear is very hard. After level 8, if you didn't see that video, yesterday after level 80. He's just a massive gear sink to kind of get him up and running, and to do that with an incomplete character just is kind of blah for me right now. And if I were to grade him on my tier list, right now he's an uncommon character. He has that niche move with the Mark of Death that can really do some things for you, but he's just an incomplete character. Very incomplete character. And I'm hoping that changes with Selene, but my first impressions are he has some theory crafting viability, and you really can't judge him completely until Selene is in the game. So I am going to leave you with some videos of me getting destroyed in the arena in different compositions. Now, you can plug and play him with pretty much anybody you want. And that's what I did. There's, I put him in a demon team, I put him in the orc team, I've put him in human teams, I've put him in an elf team. So he can be a plug-and-play character for his niche move. But again, he is right now he is an uncommon character. And definitely get him from the battle pass, because I think the best of Count Delman is yet to come. So that's what I got for everybody today. I'll leave you with those videos. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the videos. Turn on notifications, all that happy horse crap. I love y'all. See you in the next one. I'm out.